Okay. Let's Frieren some more. Let us some more Frieren, shall we? Some more just fucking gorgeously appealing, beautiful watercolor ass evocative fantasy background paintings. Let us that, right? Let's that. I think let's that. I was a bit negative about the previous episode, but not everything can be a banger all the time. Maybe there's some context I don't understand. Let's see if I enjoy this one more. So, welcome along. If you've not been along to one of my anime reactions before, I do it in a way that is inconvenient, and you just have to deal with that, because that's the way things are. I'm going to count down. I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, go. And then when I say go, we're going to play the episode, and you can see it disappears from the screen so that YouTube cannot nuke my channel into oblivion with copyright claims. And then eventually, some stuff's going to happen, and I'm going to be like, oh, hey, I need to talk about that. 3, 2, 1, pause. Then we pause, and then we pause on the thing, and then I'll do my yabbiting about, like, whatever it is that I want to talk about. Like, for example, how I love the fucking watercolor backgrounds. Stuff like that. And eventually, okay, I have done my yapping, and we'll go back to where we were, and then I'll say 3, 2, 1, go, and then we'll go. But you need to have the anime yourself, somewhere pulled up on your screen. And you just need to synchronize with that manually. Fortunately, you do have the subtitles on screen, and you do have this little timer up there in the top left corner of the screen that should help you do that. It'll tell you exactly where we are in the episode and help you stay more or less in sync with what I'm doing. That's the way this works. If you find that really inconvenient and annoying, you don't want to deal with it, that's okay. Other people do Frieren reactions, and you probably have more fun with those. But I'm going to do it my way because that's how I am as a person. Goodbye you, it's goodbye me. So, let's go. 3, 2, 1, start. Okay, we're opening with a flashback, huh? I'm sorry. 3, 2, 1, pause. Just going to put down a marker so that I can remember exactly where we are. This is a little thing. This is not a big thing. This is not important, but first of all, it's just like, So one thing about a lot of anime backgrounds, a complaint that I have with a lot of productions, it was one of my biggest complaints, weirdly, with My Hero Academia and its anime, is that its backgrounds were shit tier. Like, its backgrounds were garbage. They were horrible. They were awful. They sucked so bad in so many of the episodes, and they often do. And there's a lot of anime in which background design is like, it's not a priority, right? Like, and that's understandable. Like, from a production perspective, like, backgrounds in TV anime, who cares? They're not important. The action's what important. But I cannot, because it's not just that this is watercolor. I've waxed about watercolor, but look at the structure of the way that these bricks are presented, right? Look at the structure. Look at the way that this clearly looks like not only it was laid by hand by someone, but also how uneven and cracked it is and like fucked up, and there's little plants growing in the between of the seams and stuff. Like, it's been stepped on by 100 million feet for like 150 years or whatever. And it has a tactility and a reality to it that, like, in so many anime backgrounds, it's just, here's a ruler, we're just carving these spaces out of rulers, right? Like, of straight lines, perfectly, like, straight, clean lines. And the backgrounds have no quality to them of time or weariness. They don't have a sense of being lived in or having existed outside of, we just need, like, we need a school classroom for this shot. So just, here's generic school classroom number 487. We just plug that one in there. The same one as you see in 4,000 other animes, right? It's one of the things, like, I should do Nichijou at some point. But the fact that these are painted watercolor, there's so much care that goes in, because it's not like, okay, it's not like the environments are always that important, right? Like, it's not like these fucking this fucking generic background from every fantasy anime where there's like a tent stand of some kind and there's some bricks on the wall or whatever. It's not like these are amazing, right? It's not like I look at those and go, oh my god, I can feel the world building. But they do feel like environments that were put together by people. Much more so than the very, very rigid, very drawn by ruler designs that you see in so many anime. But that's not why. Can you believe it? That's not why I paused on this. I paused on this because I just wanted to take a look at Frieren stopping here. Just cause that's a really nice bit of animation. Because it's not just that her feet are stopping, right? It's not just that she plants her feet and then stops. It's the secondary motion of it as she stops and the way that the suitcase swings a bit, the way that she settles back down into her stance slowly, the way the leather of the boots warps and deforms. That's really good. Yeah, like the secondary motion and the settling motion and like the... There's a real gravity to that. I wonder why. It's another one of those little shots where it feels like the animator just went a little bit harder than they needed to in order to convey what's being said. Because it's not like this is an important shot. It's just, I mean, okay. Anyway, let's go back to the thing. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, hey, it's intro time. The blue pencil thing they're doing there is also just lovely to look at. I will say, I don't think I've seen any fan art of Sane. I've seen a lot of Fern and Stark and Frieren. And Aura, for that matter. And Himmel, and like... I don't think I've seen very much fan art at all of Sign. Not that I'm super plugged into the Frieren fandom or whatever, but... I still really like that little gesture of her sliding into view, fragmented between these two reflections in time. It's still the opening very clever. I mean, it's very obvious why they get shipped. I'm sorry. No, shut the fuck up, dipshit. It's just the way men are. Fuck off. It's nice to see Fern being a bit of a child, though. She is young. Oh, 3, 2, 1, pause. Happy noises! Background design! Again, it's not like this is fucking like a generational master. It's just so much anime I watch, the backgrounds just feel so dead and so nothing to me, so textureless, so placeless, so sauceless, and it's just nice. That's like, oh, I can tell that a human person seems to have spent a bunch of time doing this, like using their human artist judgment about, like, look at the fucking, okay, so the lines between the rocks here in on the square, right? We don't need every single individual line between every single individual rock. We just need enough to imply the sort of general texture of the brickwork here. So you go to the background, it's like, okay, there's nothing here. It's just blank color, but then, like, we start using a judicious number of little crack lines to really imply, like, the feeling of the cobbles of this place, and it's just lovely. It's just good. And also, I do love me some good foreground nonsense. That's another thing about a lot of anime that I could complain about for hours, and I will, because you're trapped here with me. You cannot pause. You cannot close down this tab. You are stuck until I am done with you. That was weirdly dommy of me. A lot of anime, the way the cinematography is put together, so often it feels like they forget to use the foreground. And that's not exclusive to any one anime or any one genre or anything. It's just, there's so much you can do by just putting some shit in the foreground. It's an art teacher I once had who basically gave us this lesson of saying, like creating depth in an image is entirely about putting shit in front of other shit. Just occlude some stuff, right? Put some things in front of things, and that's how you achieve, like, a sense of depth in an image. You can see that here, right? Like, how much more of a depth of space do we get in this background of the square because we have these two objects, like, in the extreme foreground, creating depth and space? And, like, you can see it happens here. Like, the statue occludes the people in the background occlude each other. It all helps create a sense of depth in the image, which is just feels lovely three-dimensional. Not a masterpiece, not like I'm going, oh my god, no other anime has ever done this before. No, just, it's good craft, and I just have such an appreciation and love of stuff that was made by people. There's a comic artist. I was once at a talk with him at a convention. He's what was his name? Thierry Capasson, I think. He's French-Italian, and used to do a lovely comic book series where he drew a lot of, like, cityscapes. Like, a lot of, like, historical European cities appeared in his comic. And one of the pieces of advice he gave is, like, you draft with a ruler, but you finish the illustration by hand, by which he meant, yes, you absolutely sit down with a ruler, you do the mathematical thing of, like, you use the rulers, you use the guidelines and everything. When you are laying out the background, when you're defining the geometry of all of these things, the three-dimensionality of it, of course you use geometry, of course you use the math, right? Of course you do the thing with the ruler and the vanishing point and all of that. But then once you have done your layout, once you're done your drafting, when you sit down to sit and finish that line work, you do it all by hand. No rulers anywhere, because the slight shakiness, the slight roughness of the human hand as it tries to trace these lines imperfectly adds unspeakable amounts of character. Like, that's the difference between illustrating a scene versus creating an architect's schematic of a scene, right? Like when he's drawing buildings. And that's something I've always kind of carried with me. The power of doing things a little bit roughly, of, like, allowing that human imperfection to seep in. And that's all over. Like, you can see that the lines in this building in the background, right? Like, this thatched house thing, The lines ain't straight. There's not a straight fucking line in this thing. Everything is a little bit wobbly. Everything's a little bit offset against each other. It's not geometrically perfect. Pretty much anywhere. There's wobble to the lines. There's like inconsistencies in them that adds such a sense of reality to them, to me anyway. That makes this feel like that's just so much prettier. It's just so much nicer. Anyway, that's enough of that. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, he's looking at the present he got. Oh. Really? Does he now? This is true. Stark has big ADHD energy. Okay, we're developing a dynamic. Good. And I do like that Fern is getting to be a little more childlike now that she doesn't have to be the only adult in the room with Frieren. Hold hands. Hold hands. Hold hands. Do it. Do it. Aww. Yeah, that's the thing. Heiter, obviously. Oh, that's hang on. 3, 2, 1, pause. I That's charming. That's a very charming. Hang on. That's adorable. Look at that. Like the little flapping of the arms to indicate like the little as she goes down the tiles. That's a very nice way to animate that. That's adorable. It definitely still feels like we're heavily like 8 minutes into this episode, we sort of take that whole arc thing, right? Like of opening with Stark forgot Fern's birthday, kind of, except not really, childish misunderstanding. He gets to be the adult in the room talking sense to the both of them. Everyone's sort of like, oh, like we're going real fast with this. I will say, in a way that like it does feel a little unusual for Frieren. Like Frieren, certainly season like the first 12 episodes, which I think constitute like a season 1 kind of deal. Maybe, I don't actually know. Felt like they took their time a bit more than this. This feels like it's going real fast, and I'm wondering why we're compressing, like why the story is compressing. Because again, I don't know if maybe the manga did this as well, um, but the story certainly feels like it's compressing itself quite a bit in order to skip some steps and get somewhere. Who knows why? Let's find out. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh shit, that's a good shot. Ain't that the fucking truth? Jesus. I mean, that's why we invented God. Oh, well, yes, no, actually, he seems to agree with me. It is true though. Like if you want a man to just melt to pieces in your hands, play with his hair for 2 seconds. That'll do it. Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong. So that was a vignette, clearly. Wait, no, hang on. That's the that ring? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. 3, 2, 1, pause. No, I'm sorry, but you know me. Or rather, maybe you don't, but if you do, first of all, gorgeously rendered explosion here. Look at that differential animation timing. We animate the explosion and the shrapnel on different frame timings in order to smooth. And like this fucking shot as well. Like, what are we going on here? We're working on like threes, right? More or less. Yeah, background moves. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then like the barrel 1. Then everyone, all of the things move. And then it's 1, 2, 3, and then oh, it's actually on 4. Like it's a very slow. We're technically operating at a very low frame rate, but because we're trying to simulate the idea of like seeing something happen with a high speed camera kind of vibe, it works. That book there, by the way. Hang on. Lovely. Lovely. But the ring, right? The ring is the thing. Oh, that's pretty. It's not just that it's like being like that the animator is taking a very rigid geometric object and animating it rotating in 3D space in a way that's really, really pretty. It's also just the way that they're using the lighting here, right? Like that we have this beam of light, Frieren in shadow, a beam of light that's catching the ring itself, giving us these gorgeous edge lightings painted onto the thing while we see the chaos in the background. Like we can see in the background that's like all kinds of other stuff is flying around. Oh, that's a pretty shot. Holy shit. That's really, really, really pretty. Anyway, back to reality. What the fuck just happened? 3, 2, 1, go. A horse. Oh, that's glorious. 3, 2, 1, pause. That was fucking brilliant. Oh my god. Anyway, one thing, this scene, by the way, one thing I really like as they're talking, right? Even the background merchant over here, Mr. Not Very Important to This Story, you can see how, like, the animators are taking time to make sure that he's getting jostled with the wing beats of the giant bird, right? And all the characters that, like, during the dialogues, like, you get this little jostling of, like, the items on the floor, of the people themselves jostling with the wing beats of the bird. What about the horse, though? Like, the horse is just dead, I guess? Right? Even here, when it's just this little close-up shot, or medium shot of like, Stark just saying, never mind the technicalities, we still get that, like, jostle, 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 to really match the motion and the movement. And here, like, when Frieren is talking, and not just that it's the jostle and the motion, but also you can see the jostle is asynchronous. It's not like the characters move at exactly the same pace or exactly the same time. When they jostle just a little bit out of time with each other. There's a wonderful physicality to that. Lovely. Anyway. Just fucking yoink. Head first. It's one thing if he just jumped, right? He could just jump. But it's like, attack the earth. You. Oh, that's how you get down from somewhere? You fucking lunatic. Oh, that's very, very funny. Oh my god. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh. Well, okay then. I guess we're falling. Please tell me the horse is alive at least. It's floating. Okay, well. 3, 2, 1, pause. I need to that fucking the Frieren jumping out of the carriage. That's a banger of a shot right there. Because we're not just doing like a travel through 3D space, we're doing like this lens distortion thing, right? Where as we get closer and closer, you can see how it's not just that we're not trying to accurately emulate the reality of a 3D space. We're intentionally stretching and warping it to really enhance the sense of speed as Frieren goes through here. And, like, look at all these objects being tracked across the ground like that. Even if it's only for a few frames, that's impressive. That'll have taken a while to do. Anyway, horse is alive. That's the thing that I do like, that the horse is the only one that really got the full benefit of the floating spell. That's funny. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, that's a nice looking wheel. Oh, fuck off. God damn it. Okay, 3, 2, 1, pause. Again, Jesus. Oh. After a fair, like, I did not care that much for the animation in the previous episode, but this one, jeez, there's some shots. Because, like, again, it's not just that Fern is pushing a wheel and then it's rotating forward. The wheel is wobbling. Do you see that? Like, you see that little three-dimensional wobble side to side, which, again, like, very true to how a wheel like that would actually roll across the ground, but also fucking challenging to animate on an object like this and make it look good without the model looking like it's completely fucking distorted. And then after that, we get Stark, right? Like, carrying this giant thing. And that shouldn't be much, right? A lesser anime, right? An anime with animators that are just less fucking goated than Madhouse would just have this be a fairly static shot of him, right? Like, he would be moving and then you'd have this log on his shoulder and it would just kind of be a consistent object that doesn't change at any point because he's just kind of moving across the screen from one angle, right? But no, because we're animating Stark's walk cycle with some realism to it, it's not just that he holds it on his shoulder and it just stays there and, like, bobs up and down as he moves. He twists his shoulder, right? Like, he walks with a twist to him because that's what human beings do. So they take this fucking complicated ass thing. They don't even simplify the log that much either, right? Like, normally, okay, in order to animate an object like this in three-dimensional space rotating a little bit along its axis easily, oh yeah, we won't render all of the fucking individual grains on the motherfucker. We'll just make it like a fairly generic flat object. But no. The animator fully sits down and tries to track the subtle rotational motion of this thing by fucking hand, by the looks of it, because you can see the inconsistencies, right? Like, you can see that there's a bit of warp and a bit of inconsistency across the model that wouldn't exist if it was 3D, right? 3D has the power to do this easily, but hand animating shit like this is a really difficult. You have to really control the wobble. You have to really, like, it doesn't have to be 110% absolutely perfect from frame to frame. You can have some wobble, you can have some inconsistency, that's fine. But it has to be managed carefully so that at least the silhouette is consistent. And, like, they just do that casually for a little inconsequential shot like that. God damn. This is the Frieren I love. Like, just animators going way too hard for certain shots for no fucking reason at all. Just to delight me personally. Anyway. 3, 2, 1, go. Live with it. I do like that they're developing a relationship between them now. Yeah, that was the thing about the ring, right? Get his ass. Because it's the fact that you took the time and the effort to try really hard to get it right. That's the thing that matters, buddy. It's that you cared enough to want to get it right really badly. That matters. That means something. That makes the object meaningful. And what an interesting parallel again to... Ooh, that shot of Stark. What an interesting parallel again to have Stark buy a band that mirrors the ring that Himmel got for Frieren. They ate a whole boar in one night? Jesus! How much do these people eat? That's a lot of pig! Ooh, okay, hang on. 3, 2, 1, pause. This is a little thing. And it's not unique to Frieren. It's just a thing I like. Parallax scrolling. This. You see the way the trees are all individualized elements that scroll across the screen at a different pace, and that lends like a lot of depth, a lot of a sense of depth to the image. What it's meant to do is emulate 3D space, right? And this is an effect that's very basic, right? But I love it in part because it's a relic. The way that it's expressed in 2D animation is very much a relic of animation's history. Back when animation was literally drawn, hand-drawn on actual cells, right? On pieces of like paper and transparent, like glass that were all like individually photographed frame by frame by frame by frame in order to create the animation in like a piece, like the way Disney used to do it. Like that was one of the big innovations, right, that Disney came up with for Snow White. Like the very first animated feature film is like they came up with a whole bunch of innovations in doing this, in arranging actual physical objects in layers in front of like a camera rig in order to photograph the individual cells of animation in a way that could be printed to film and then shown on a projector reel. One of the scenes that comes to mind is, I think it's the Evil Queen when she transforms into the crone. I think they do a rotation shot like that. Snow White gets one or two of them as well, which were like these with these amazing rotational 3-dimensional, like where everything's whirling around in a way that feels very 3-dimensional. It's sort of an extension of just this, like parallaxing by having layers moving at different speed in the frame. And it's such a simple thing, right? Like, because like this is one of those shots. Again, you could kind of just have everything moving, like just scroll the background. You really don't need the parallax for a shot like this. It's not like the depth is necessarily important to the shot. It's just, it adds a wonderful sense of 3-dimensionality to this shot that I really appreciate. Because it's extra work. Like, it's extra work to create a parallax shot like this, because it means in this particular shot, right, you can't just have a background that you have painted, you have to have the deep background back here, which needs to be completely painted. Then you need to have the next layer of background and the next layer of background, the next layer of background. And you can't just, if you just draw one layer of background, then over here, behind the tree there, you don't have to fill in this bit of background behind that bit of background, because it all occludes. But because you're doing all these layers, each layer itself needs to be complete with itself and needs to be completely painted so that they can be moved relative to one another without having gaps. And it's just extra work. I just really appreciate it. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, go. Is it? Yes, you did. Yes, he did. Oh, come the fuck on. Really? Okay, 3, 2, 1, pause. Oh, I may have paused too soon. Hang on. Okay. All right. Hang on. You... Listen. He just had to hand her the fucking parchment, right? He has a piece of parchment, hand it over to her. Very easy. You don't have to do that much for that. What would possess the animator to be like, no, you know what I'll do? You know what I'll fucking do? I'll take this parchment and this fucking hand, and I'll just like, yeah, let's just do a full fucking 180 flip on that motherfucker for a simple of just handing over a piece of paper to her. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you do it like that? That's so much. That is so much. Just to show off? Are you just having fun? I appreciate it. I approve of it. I enjoy it. But like really lingering on like whoosh, the physicality of that. And then of course now also it seems like maybe they're about to, yeah, like look at that fucking, again, it's just Frieren rising into the air, right? Like, it doesn't have to be a super complicated shot. How are we going to choose to do it, though? Oh, we're going to choose this really low angle where we have to distort her out of the lens. And you can see the little shortcuts that they pick, right? You can see the way, oh, her legs are not actually fully animated all the way up there. We just kind of terminate them in this little nub because that's enough for the shot, right? But what a ridiculously difficult angle to choose for a simple shot of just her rising into the air. Because it's not just Frieren you have to animate, it's also the fucking staff, right? Which slowly has to rotate out of frame. And you're making the poor lighting engineers, like the compositor and the lighting engineer, have to fucking handle the dimensionality of the shadows on that. Like, come on. And at this fucking frame rate, too. This is animated on 2s. Like, that's practically on fucking... That's practically animated at a movie frame rate, which is necessary too. Like, you can see they're doing the offset thing where we move the background, then we move the character, then we move the background, then we move the character, so that something is so that the whole frame itself is moving on ones, even if the character isn't. And then we get to, like, I think around here, right? Yeah, like, just look how fucking... And the little flapping of the coat, look how smooth that is. Look how smooth and naturalistic that is. The way the coat keeps flapping, like, even as Frieren herself gets reduced to, like, this blob of nothing, and, like, detail gets LOD'd out of, like, most of her accessory, the way the coat moves. Like, just the smoothness and the naturalistic motion of the coat flapping in the wind like this. What the fuck? Fucking Frieren animators, man. What the hell's what's wrong with these people? Jesus. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, what a shot. I'm sorry. What fucking... No, 3, 2, 1, pause. I'm sorry. I need to... What fucking guy or girl or person was on the loan from fucking Studio Ghibli for this? What are you doing? Okay, so we've talked about these offset frame rates, right? Like, about moving one piece of something and then moving the other piece on, like, a different timing. Here's a fucking masterclass in that. Right? This shot to this shot. This frame to this frame. Like, just choosing these different frame timings to move each bit of Frieren, each bit of her model, being very intentional about, like, what gets to move on which frames. Back and forth, individual elements of the character being allowed to move. What an application of limited animation. We're actually... This is fully on some Hanna-Barbera shit, actually, a little bit. So, when you think of old Hanna-Barbera cartoons, we've talked about this many times before. Old Hanna-Barbera cartoons. Scooby-Doo, Snagglepuss, Top Cat, the Flintstones, the Jetsons, all of them. What you'll notice about almost every... Like, fucking Yogi Bear. What you'll notice about almost every single character in any Hanna-Barbera cartoon is that they have a collar of some kind. They have something... a little object or something around the neck of their character design that separates their head and their neck from the rest of their body. And the purpose of that is to allow the animator to animate the head and the neck independently of the body, so that you can do talking animation. And even if only the head is moving and the rest of the body isn't, it doesn't look too unnatural, right? So you'd get these very classic Hanna-Barbera shots when characters are talking, when it's just like, oh, sure thing, hey, Fred? Wait, when they talk, it's just all head movement. It's just all that their heads are moving and sort of going back and forth. And it's like, oh, amazing, astonishing even, right? Like, it's just the heads moving and almost no movement from the body. That's called limited animation, right? Like, that's a cost-saving technique that was innovated to create cheap TV animation on a budget, where you animate as little of the character as possible to achieve each necessary shot. Same thing with, like, Scooby-Doo shots. When characters are running, oftentimes only the legs are animated, right? Like, it's only really the legs that are doing anything, and the rest of the body is just stiff in one pose while the legs are going. Same principle, right? We're kind of doing that here. We're kind of doing a Hanna-Barbera thing where you can see that the animator is doing this. The animator is taking advantage of the fact that Frieren's scarf separates her head from her body in a way that allows them not to animate the two of them together, right? Like that Frieren's body can shift completely along the axis in a way that should require the head to move as well. If we could see the neck here, the full connection of her neck to her body, this would be really like a lot weirder than it is. I do think maybe the head is a little big for her body here, but that's neither here nor there. Then this motion of the body rotating while the head does nothing would probably look more awkward, but because we have this visual separation, right, that allows each element to be moved independently. And you can see the same thing applying in many places here. Like, we have this visual separation between this ponytail and the back of Frieren's head, so we can move the ponytail independently, right? Same principle, limited animation, but rather than using the technique of limited animation in order to animate as little as possible, here we're taking the principle of limited animation, only animating one bit of the character rather than animating, because like the classic thing, the traditional thing, if you're doing a Disney movie, right, go back and watch like Aladdin or whatever, when a character is moving, they are fully animated, right? Like, and that means every single frame of the character, usually that's a whole new ass fucking drawing, right? They don't copy paste, they don't reuse anything. They eventually, like, it's complicated. Disney animators have a lot of shortcuts as well that they like to use, but when you see the genie doing his amazing animation in Aladdin or whatever, every frame of the genie is a new drawing by, what was his name? Goldman? Ben Goldman? Tom Goldman? One of them, the animator who was responsible for him, doing a new frame of that animation every single time, like redrawing the character fully from frame to frame to frame, right? Like with some assistance, with some tools and stuff over top of that, but basically that's it. Here, we're kind of doing a different thing. Rather than every frame being a new drawing of the whole character, every frame is a new drawing of something, right? Every single frame, something happens, something moves, something is shifted, but only a limited part of the character. So we achieve kind of the look of full animation by using several techniques of limited animation instead. And that's really impressive. It's also just the little things, like this rotational movement that Frieren is doing. We're spending the whole fucking this reaction just talking about animation details. Like, there's a 2D, 3D mix happening here, right? Like that, the staff rotating and Frieren's hand holding onto it, that feels like it was at least partly rotoscoped over a 3D model. Certainly that's what I would fucking do if I had to animate a shot like this from this angle with an object like that in frame that's supposed to be three-dimensionally perfect. From this feels like it was rotoscoped, at least in part, over a 3D model. Like the motion of her body feels like maybe that some scratch animation was created to act as a reference, or some live action footage. Like, lots of animators also just take live action footage of themselves to use as animation reference, but what a fucking shot, man. Again, fucking hell, man. This is not an important shot. We don't need to bring out the fucking Sakuga god to animate a shot of Frieren flying up into the air and wobbling her staff around. Like, what? What Ghibli animator on vacation was like, yeah, you know what, I'll stop by Studio Madhouse and just absolutely murder an inconsequential shot of an elf girl floating in the air for 4 seconds. Let me just do that with my time. What the hell? Fucking hell. Okay, let's get back to it. 3, 2, 1, go. again, with the fucking, like, that little shot of her turning, that frame rate on that was... See, now for that shot, I understand really putting your whole fucking animuzi into it. Because this is an emotionally resonant, important moment for her that she's thinking back on. But just for the rising into the air, wobbling her staff around is... fucking hell. There's such a thing as doing too much. I mean, I appreciate it, but... acceptable answer. Yeah, okay. Let's pause here then. Okay. So I did not much care for the previous episode, which was the introduction of Sign, because it... in part because its production quality seemed to imply to me that I shouldn't take the episode very seriously. Like the relative animation quality between... not that this one looked bad as such, but, like, this episode is a demonstration of, like, if you want a moment to feel momentous, like, it really matters, like, this is an important moment for Frieren emotionally, for a character emotionally. Also, this shot, again, with the rising up, that parallax effect we were talking about, same thing here. Parts of, like, different layers of the image are moving at different rates. This is fully... and look at the sense of depth that it creates to the image as she's rising up, like... fucking hell. But, like, here, the animators are going real fucking ham during an important, emotionally resonant moment in Frieren's backstory, right? Like, when Himmel essentially puts a wedding ring on her, and he's getting down on one knee. Like, here, the animators, like, really fucking playing up the slow physicality of the moment, like, the sensory memory of remembering what this moment looked and felt and sounded like, right? Like, and the importance of that for Frieren as a person. And, like, that relative to this, right? Like, which moment feels more emotionally resonant and important here? And again, this is pretty normal for, like, standard budget, like, I would see a shot like this, except uglier because the backgrounds wouldn't be painted the same way. A shot like this would happen in, like, any of the seasonal isekai slop, right? Like, something like this would come along. Something like this does not come along in seasonal isekai slop, right? Something like this is special. So again, it's very much... I think maybe my negativity towards the previous episode was also, at least in part, just from having some distorted expectations of how beautiful Frieren's animation language, visual language usually is. Because that was very much not on display in this episode. Like, this episode was budget conscious, is what I would call it. That's what it felt like. Again, still probably like a category or two above, again, like seasonal isekai slop. Still easily a category or two below anything Frieren does ever, because Frieren is just a remarkably well... like, seasonal isekai slop does not have backgrounds this pretty. But then Frieren just decides to remind me of, like, no, actually. Frieren is that bitch, right? Frieren is that fucking show. Frieren is the show that does that. Just casual, just because it can, just because casually. Sure, we had... yeah, the animation department drank their Red Bulls today. They just decided... oh my god. This fucking show, man. Holy shit. Just the way that they just sometimes like, hey, hang on, we have a deeper understanding of the like power and ability of animation to visually astonish a person than most other shows will ever develop in their lifetime. Let's just show it up. We're Studio Madhouse. Fuck you. And I will say, I don't mind some episodes being low budget, right? Because that's an important part of production, right? Like, an important part of production is like, okay, we're gonna make some episodes where we like lower production values, like we spend less time on each illustration, we keep things simpler, like we do less impressive tricks, because that preserves our budget, that preserves our timeline, so that we have like the time in the schedule and the amount of money necessary in order to create the episodes where we can like really fucking dial this shit up and make animation perverts on YouTube spend an hour talking about a 24-minute episode, right? Like, I'm completely fine with that. That some episodes are a lower effort and like a little bit more sort of baseline, and then some of them just go absolutely fuck shit motherfucking ham with it. That's fine. It's just, I don't know that I would have chosen the introduction of a major character and a new party member who's going to be recurring. I don't know that I would have chosen those for that, is my point about that, I suppose. But anyway, this fucking episode, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Fuck me, man. And it's just the latter half of the episode, right? Because the first half of the episode is this little vignette about someone forgetting someone's birthday, like fully Saturday morning cartoon thing with a couple of like these dumb little teenagers not really being good at their emotions yet, and the adult in the room who's finally here having to teach them. And again, I like that they're finally developing, okay, who's Cyan supposed to be here then? Like, what's his dynamic supposed to be in the party? Like, how is he supposed to interact with these other characters? Well, he's the adult in the room. He's the guy who's like more than 16 years old and not in a state of permanent arrested development like Frieren is. I like that. I like that we developed a little bit of that dynamic there. But then the latter half of the episode is just, oh yeah, by the way, we're still the Frieren animators. Look at what we can do. Let's just do movie quality animation for 12 minutes. 'Cause we can. Just for the heck of it. This fucking shot as well. Just as a shot. Like, what a composition that is. Fuck me, man. Okay. Yeah, no, Frieren, pretty good anime. Better than Solo Leveling, by the way. This is one thing I've seen people, like, I've seen this discourse because of, right now they're doing the anime of the year things, and a bunch of the Sakuga crowd, like the cool fights and punching things crowd, are like, yeah, Solo Leveling, best fights of the year. And then there's this narrative, I think, again, I'm not really close. There's this narrative of like Frieren versus Solo Leveling, and a bunch of people being like, well, Frieren is like really slow and dour and boring, and like, sure, it has good animation sometimes, but then most of the rest of the time it's not really. But Solo Leveling has like the greatest fight choreography ever, and therefore it's the greatest anime. And it's like, I'm not gonna dispute that. Like, I have not seen all of Solo Leveling. I kind of bounced off that show eventually. It has an interesting premise, but it doesn't really go anywhere with it. I'm not gonna say that Frieren has like more fight scene Sakuga than Solo Leveling, but Frieren has, when Frieren decides to go, the level of cinematography, like the level of attention to detail, the things it chooses to go on, the things it chooses to really spend its animation power on are more interesting to me than any fight scene, right? Like, there is no battle Sakuga in the world that would have me as interested as the shots, as a shot like this. Like, the technical aspects of how you put a shot like this together, the decisions of, like, what you deform, what you rotoscope, the way that you composite these elements together. It looks quite awkward when you frame by frame your way through it like this, obviously, right? Like, but played back in full speed, and you get copyright claimed on YouTube for one thing, but like the place that Frieren tends to put its Sakuga, the way it tends to deploy it, I find so much more interesting than, oh, here's a fight scene where all of the action is really kinetic and powerful and really cool. Like, to me, this is more interesting from an animation technical perspective. That doesn't mean Frieren is a better anime than Solo Leveling. It's a better anime because it has a theme that it actually cares about, which Solo Leveling, again, haven't watched all of it. Maybe it gets better about it as it goes down the line, but what I saw of it, it had an interesting premise and an interesting theme, and then it just kind of went, this is an isekai actually now. He's have overpowered protagonist, have many fights against things and win them. And that's just not interesting to me. That's like, not that it's better or worse, but it's not interesting to me. So, like, if you're doing anime of the year, and if the metric you're judging by is animation quality, I'm sorry, I think it has to go to Frieren. Not because the Sakuga in Solo Leveling is less valid, but just because, to me, it's less technically interesting. If that makes sense. Anyway, I don't want to fight with Solo Leveling fans. Like, you can like whatever anime you like. It's just, I don't think you can do an apples-to-apples comparison between the two, because, like, the way that Solo Leveling and Frieren deploy Sakuga, the purposes for which Sakuga is deployed, are completely different. Like, they're not using high-quality animation to do the same thing at all, those two shows. Yeah, I think that was my point. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Who knows? I don't know what my point is half the time. I'm just saying shit. And you're here, listening to it still, for some reason. I don't know, you're a weirdo. What a weirdo you are. You're the weird one. I'm normal. It's 7 a.m. and I haven't slept yet. I should go to bed. Bye.